In the heart of a bustling city, where the noise of progress drowned out the whispers of nature, we dreamed of a different life. Our city block was only small, but we still adorned it with chickens and fruit and herbs. Our dreams of a simple country life seemed like an impossibility. We had agave, we had lemons, we had lavender, we had dragon fruit, we had loquat, we had bananas, we had passion fruit, we had pumpkins, we had ginger, we had mint, we had pineapple sage, we had African basil. We even had about 6 or 7 hives in our yard of Australian native bees. We had rosemary and pawpaw. We had parsley and avocado trees. And we finally got ourselves a little long-awaited chocolate Labrador puppy called Coco that we all adored. We yearned for space and freedom. We worked hard and saved up for 10 years. And so we embraced the unknown, relinquishing the familiar to carve a path into the heart of the Australian wilderness, a decision not made lightly, an exodus from the race of rats, an escape into the embrace of nature. Yet on our first night on our off-grid property, we bore witness to the fragility of life. Our 9-month-old puppy, Coco, slipped away into the night. She had eaten some wild dog bait that had been left on the property. Undeterred, we faced the rocky terrain, taming the land that was to be our haven. In a bushfire-prone area, we unearthed the stones that were in the shed paddock. They hindered our progress because they were making it hard for us to be able to mow the yard, which was really important because we live in a bushfire-prone area. And the storms taught us resilience. Our shower and toilet tents succumbed to the winds, and this happened countless times. In the wilderness, our children became stewards of survival. The hum of a chainsaw or the ride-on mower, the crackle of a bonfire, skills woven into the fabric of their beings. They learned to shoot, not just arrows into the unknown, but also towards a future of self-sufficiency. As the seasons painted our canvas, our boys, once who were just children of the city, grew into young men on this off-grid property. Amidst the eucalyptus trees and the call of the kookaburras, they embarked on the journey of adolescence. Because we had moved from a warm climate to a cold climate, we faced a number of challenges. One was that all our native bees died because it was too cold for them. Luckily, we had left some hives back in Brisbane. We have many nights below zero here. And obviously some of the other off-grid challenges are harvesting your own rainwater and producing your own power. So we got a wind turbine up, and we also use solar panels for our electricity. We only had 2 or 3 panels to start with. We found that we had some native olives and figs and some rose hips and blackberries growing wild on the property. And we went to the local Indigenous nursery to get some native plants to add to our own collection. In the quiet solitude of our off-grid retreat, the symphony of crackling branches and the scent of eucalyptus became the backdrop to a timeless ritual, the harvesting of firewood. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting shadows that danced upon the rugged terrain, our family united in the warmth of shared labour. The dance of the flames cast flickering shadows upon the iron belly of the Dutch oven, the vessel that transformed our food into a beautiful meal. The aroma of crackling wood mingled with the savoury scents that wafted from the Dutch oven, creating a sensory harmony that echoed through the bush. The only shelter that we had besides our tent was our shed, and it just had a dirt floor, and we just camped inside it and felt the grit of the dirt. It was everywhere, and it settled upon every surface, coating all of our belongings in a fine layer of dust. We planted the seeds of a food forest, and we nurtured our fruit trees, herbs and vegetables in hope that they would bear fruits for us and for our children and for more generations to come. And in the shed during the winter nights, they were unforgivingly cold, and we drew closer around the outdoor campfire. We decided that we needed to get an indoor fire to keep us warm through the whole night. We also added some cement to the shed floor, and we were donated some carpet to go with it as well. Now it was so much more comfortable and homely for us. And daily miracles unfolded as dawn painted the horizon in soft mist. To wake up to this meant awakening to nothing but nature, the symphony of bird calls orchestrated in the morning as if nature itself was conducting a serenade just for me. The beauty of the untouched wilderness greeted us. The air, crisp and pure, carried the scents of eucalyptus and the promise of a new day. There was an unspoken connection to the earth beneath us. It was wild, it was untamed, and it was beautiful. The simplicity of our little dwellings allowed us to embrace the untouched beauty of the Australian wilderness in its raw, unfiltered splendour. Outside, the world waited with open arms. The rustle of leaves, the gentle babble of a nearby creek, and the distant calls of native creatures wove a tapestry of sounds that was like serenity. We planted dreams in the form of orange trees, their branches reaching for the skies like hopeful aspirations, and loquat trees. Our plants from the Gunnamar nursery, where the wisdom of the land is cradled, thrive. We were determined to forge a life off the grid, and so we decided that we needed to get a larger rainwater tank because we only had a little one, and luckily it was donated to us. So we ordered a 23,000 litre rainwater tank to be delivered, a lifeline in this arid land. But it arrived at the main road. As fate would have it, the truck can't brave the boggy track that leads to our homestead. So undeterred, we improvised. We constructed a makeshift trailer borrowed from a mate there, Daryl, and we basically held it together, and we went and picked up the rainwater tank, but it was the windiest day in the history of mankind, and the wind challenged us every step of the way. But after 3 full days of sweat and determination, and against all odds, the tank found its rightful place and we had time to rest. At the very start of our off-grid journey, all our water had to be hauled in buckets from the rainwater tank to inside. Boiling water cascaded over the taps, a dance with warmth in a world where the cold sought dominion. The taps, reluctant under the morning frost, yielded to the streaming offering. Our sons had their friends come and camp on our property, and the chorus of laughter and youthful energy filled the property. The crackle of the campfire harmonised with tales spun under the vast star-studded Australian sky. The avocado tree that we had transplanted from the pot to the ground looked like it was going to die. Our antique water well pump was a silent witness to decades past. It stood dormant, waiting to share its tales, and we decided it was time to awaken the sleeping relic. And the sun, weary from its journey, descended with a grace that seemed to pause time itself. The horizon becomes the stage for nature's final act of the day. We got ourselves another puppy, a rescue puppy, and we decided to call her Truffles. We got a kitchen sink installed and some kitchen cupboards. We put in a 4-stage water filtration system for our drinking water, and we put in a leaf eater as well.
Hello.
Our off-grid property has become a magnet for drawing good friends from distant places, embarking on long journeys to share in our off-grid experience. And the track to our property, which was really boggy, with the help of our neighbours, has been fixed up a bit to make it a bit more easily passable. Our first summer, painted with the brushstrokes of La Niña, gave us more than rain. It gave us a profound connection to the land and its cycles. In her embrace, our landscape transformed into a lush haven. Our creeks danced with abundance, and not one, but 4 dams overflowed with the gift of rain. We had a harmonious blend of diverse life that chose to call this wild haven home. This was a possum mother and its precious baby that were living in the tree right next to our shed. In the cool shadows of twilight, we found ourselves enchanted. The possum gracefully navigating the branches of the tree, and their nightly escapades became a ballet in the moonlit theatre. As we tread softly through the landscape, we found snakes and spiders. Their elegant dance, a reminder of the intricate balance of our ecosystem. And under the vast Australian sky, kangaroos hopped across the horizon, embodying the spirit of the untamed land, and wild pigs with their snuffling noses left imprints of their presence on the landscape, each encounter a glimpse into the untamed beauty that surrounded us. But perhaps the most enchanting of all was the daily serenade of the birds. Their melodies painted the air with vibrant strokes, creating a soundtrack for our off-grid life. Springtime brought vibrant beauty to Chimney Creek Farm. After the quiet embrace of winter, our landscape burst into life, adorned with breathtaking blossoms of countless wildflowers. And we trialled our 3rd or 4th bathroom and toilet tent, which ended up being blown down again. My son Eli and I had multiple health issues to deal with, and we both had to have surgery, and I had a couple of iron infusions as well. But sadly, we lost my grandmother.
What is it, puppy? What's in there? What is it? What is it? What is it?
We got ourselves a full-size refrigerator, which was great because we didn't have to keep trying to stuff everything into the small bar fridge that we had. truffle's free-spirited presence serves as a gentle reminder that perhaps, deep down, we were always meant to live like this. 12 months ago, we started on the family project of building an outhouse. But it's not just an outhouse. It's a testament to the power of hands-on learning and the lasting impact it can have on generations. Our boys, through the building of this outhouse, have not only acquired valuable building skills, but have also contributed to a tradition that spans 3 generations now. This outhouse project at Chimney Creek Farm became more than just a construction endeavour. It became a bridge connecting the wisdom of the past with the aspirations of the future. As our boys delved into the intricacies of construction, they were unknowingly becoming part of a lineage of builders, and now they can pass down their skills that transcend time. Building an outhouse might seem like a simple task, but the skills acquired during this project are invaluable. From measuring and cutting to framing and finishing touches, our boys immerse themselves in a hands-on education that has practical applications for a lifetime. These skills, now part of their toolkit, are a gift that will keep on giving. The sun painted the skies with hues of warmth. Our second summer at Chimney Creek Farm was spent exploring the local waterways, basically the local creeks and rivers. We even went for a swim on Christmas Day, and Paul thought he was very inventive using the drill as a beater for our Christmas breakfast. Mascarpone pancakes coming up. My mum handed me down this beautiful punch bowl and also a trifle bowl that I used this Christmas as well. We spent some time getting to know our off-grid neighbours. In the spirit of the past, I find myself drawn to the notion of cultivating life from the earth, a symphony of sustenance that echoes through the ages. As we tread the path of off-grid living at Chimney Creek Farm, a new chapter unfolds. An endeavour that harks back to a timeless tradition, the establishment of a food forest. In the dappled sunlight, where the rustle of leaves whispers secrets of the past, we embark on a journey to cultivate a sanctuary of abundance, a food forest. The echoes of generations past guide our hands as we plant seeds, honouring the legacy of those who have tended the earth before us. Just as the pioneers sought sustenance for their families, we too strive to create a legacy rooted in the soil. Each tree, each plant, carries with it the promise of nourishment, a promise that resonates through time and space, connecting us to the generations gone by and hopefully to generations to come. Paul's family from Melbourne come to visit us, which is days of travel. It's a long way to come. So we're very thankful to see them, and even though they're here, the work doesn't stop. We're continuing the work on the outhouse while they're here. They all pitched in to help us, but I guess there was a little bit of time for some fun.
I'm coming! Honk honk!
Uh-oh! Uh-oh! Sadly, my Uncle Paul passed away. Loved ones, like leaves, carried away by the wind, departed this world. Their echoes of their laughter lingered in the rustling leaves, a reminder of the impermanence of life. I've been no stranger to death, and grief has become a silent companion. Navigating the labyrinth of sorrow is about learning that harmony with nature also means embracing the bitter notes of pain and heartache. And I've also learnt that grief can be a catalyst for growth. In the warmer months, our food forest flourished. We had lemon verbena, we had rosemary, we had mint, we had shallots, we had orange trees, we had lemon trees, we had all sorts of fruit trees growing. The outhouse was still a work in progress. Our dream was simple: to live a life off the grid in harmony with nature. Yet the land had its say. The storms raged and tested our family's courage. In the crucible of nature's fury, our harmonious vision wavered, and the struggle etched its mark upon the landscape. Tree branches had fallen down everywhere during the storms, even on Coco's grave. Before we put the cement and carpet down in the shed, we had pressure washed the walls inside. Now we were pressure washing the gutters to clean them all out, and we put some gutter guard on top as well to keep out all the leaves. And we continued saving our seeds from all our organic fruits and vegetables that we had, and we planted the seeds of hope in the warm embrace of the sun-soaked soil. We also grew some mulberry trees from cuttings, and we got ourselves a dry composting toilet system. We're saving the world sitting down, and we're also using hemp shavings instead of sawdust for this one. We even got steps to the outhouse and a light switch and light, which was almost civilized. We also got a door and some walls for the outhouse as well. But as the wheel of seasons turned, the first frost arrived, painting the dawn with a silvered touch. The once vibrant leaves succumbed to the frost's icy caress, and as we witnessed the cycle of life, our tender plants died. Our dreams frozen in a delicate pause. The bitter cold brought with it a lesson, a stark reminder that in the dance with nature there are steps fraught with loss. Nevertheless, we had more friends come.
As we came up the road, the fire was probably that big, and now it's like that. So I don't think that's a control.
But yeah, would love to pop.
Our second winter was just as cold. It got down to -6 degrees Celsius, I think. No water. All frozen. In the chapters of our off-grid journey, there emerges a tale of trial, courage, and the unpredictable forces of nature. It was a moment that tested the very core of our spirits. The day an out-of-control fire swept through Chimney Creek Farm, consuming 90% of our property in its fiery embrace. As the flames roared with an intensity that seemed to defy nature itself, terror gripped our hearts. Our land, once a canvas of life and growth, now became a battleground between the elements in our unwavering determination to protect our home. In the face of this inferno, our boys showcased a bravery beyond their years. Armed with whatever tools they could find, they stood against this encroaching fire, a testament to the resilience instilled in them through the challenges of off-grid living. And in our darkest hour, emergency services arrived. Their mission was to tame the unrelenting beast that threatened to consume all we held dear, but their fire truck got bogged. One of our neighbours brought his tractor over to try to pull the bogged vehicle out, but it didn't work. But then we had helicopters land in our yard as well. We had firefighters there on our property for about 8 hours probably. It was just chaotic. the hum of helicopters, and the courageous efforts of all who stood united against the relentless fire. It took the collective strength of our community and the unwavering dedication of the firefighting forces to quell the fire's advances. It was a relentless dance between the flames and those who stood in its path. Exhausted but not defeated, our collective resolve endured, a testament to the strength that emerges when communities come together in the face of adversity. A food forest out here was our dream, a sanctuary where we could dance with the land. But nature, she's no easy dance partner. But out here, where the sun bakes the earth and the winds carry untold stories, we are a family that dared to dream beyond the fences of society. As the embers finally settled in the scorched earth ball marks of the battle fort, the gravity of the ordeal began to sink in. 2 years we've lived here, trying to wrestle with the untamed forces of nature, learning through blisters, laughter, and a fair share of heartache. So we decided that we didn't have enough of fire, so we were going to cook on the outdoor fire that night for dinner. We decided that there wasn't that much left to be able to burn anyway if our fire had got out of control. Even our trees that we'd planted had burnt. But Eli's friends still braved the environment and still came camping anyway that next day or a couple of days after we had the big fire. Things seemed to get back to almost normal after a few months. We were gifted with these raised garden beds, so we went about filling them with soil and finding some herbs and vegetables to go into them. It's been a journey marked by sweat, tears, and the kind of joy that only comes from knowing that you're living true to yourself. Our outhouse is still coming along, and we've now got a sink installed so that we can wash our hands, and we've got some corrugated iron for the walls on the outside as well. So hopefully this one won't blow over in a storm. Life in sync with nature isn't a destination, it's a never-ending journey. The seasons change and so do we. Harnessing the power of the sun, collecting raindrops, and savouring the fruits of our labour, a humble harvest from a piece of land that's become our own.
Just hold it flat there for a second and roll that way. Put your hand under.
The boys even learned how to rebuild or restore old antique furniture. We got our chickens and they're providing lovely precious eggs for us now. And we harvested some wild goat for dog meat. And we had more good friends come from afar to spend some time with us on our off-grid property. And we went back to the Gunnamar nursery, the local Indigenous nursery. I'm trying to look at the label, puppy. And we got more plants to plant into our food forest. I planted some sunflower seeds in spring. And many of our plants that we thought had died in the winter frosts seem to be trying to come back to life. The potato plants that I had put into the raised garden beds started growing, and so did some citrus seeds that I planted from seed. The wind carries with it tales of resilience and growth, a testament to the spirits who cultivated this land long before our time. In the tradition of those who forged the frontier, we plant with intention, sowing the seeds of sustenance that will bear fruit for years to come. One of our avocado trees that we transplanted from a pot to the ground, we thought it was going to die, but it all died on the top and it seems to be coming back down the bottom, which is great. And we planted nectarine trees and they're starting to fruit. We also planted cherry, plum and crab apple trees, a symphony of blossoms that promised hope and a new beginning. We also have these mulberry cuttings that my mum gave me to transplant from the pot into the ground as well. Paul's added decking and steps to the outhouse, and what makes this project even more special is its role in preserving a generational legacy. The knowledge passed down from one generation to another, now reaching our boys. It creates beautiful connections. It's a reminder that the act of building goes beyond physical structures. It builds character, resilience, and a shared history. So those of you that have been following along with us for a long time or who have deep personal connections with us will know that our lovely daughter Willow left us far too soon, and the absence of her presence left a void in me that could not be filled. So sometimes you'll see Willow's Wonder on our website or our contacts, and that's because I started a handmade soap business in honour and memory of my daughter Willow. Some people say don't look back, the past is the past, but I think it's okay as long as you're not stuck there. Just as shoots of hope began to emerge from the scorched earth, a second bushfire, an unwelcome guest, swept through, consuming much of what had managed to escape the first fire. The second bushfire, like a haunting echo of the past, descended upon our property with unyielding fury. It devoured whatever remnants it had in its path, leaving us once again grappling with the heartbreak of a second fire. The landscape with new fresh wounds. Paul had been at home alone this time and he was sick with COVID, but he fought the fire side by side with our neighbours. He basically fought it all night until midnight, and when he tried to settle in for some sleep, the emergency services woke him up at 3 a.m, seeking to ensure his welfare after the aftermath of the fire. Even as the flames still danced dangerously close, Paul had battled not only the fire but also the relentless grip of illness. He finally laid down to rest. But fortunately, the spirit that courses through the veins of this land refuses to be extinguished. In sharing our journey and the challenges that we face, we acknowledge not only the trials, but also the collective resilience that binds us together. And after the relentless dance with fire, a silver lining emerged on the horizon, a blessing in the form of much-needed rains, showering the scorched landscape with a gentle touch of raindrops. Each droplet seemed to carry with it the promise of renewal, a soothing balm for the wounded earth. The parched ground, now a canvas of resilience, absorbed the life-giving elixir that cascaded from the skies. And now that the weather is getting warmer again, our plants are coming back to life. And my sunflower seedlings, once fragile, now standing tall, reaching for the skies. We've also added a pink lady apple tree, an olive tree, and we planted a new loquat after the last one burnt in the fire. And we've got some more plants from the Gunnama nursery, the indigenous nursery. And our outhouse is coming along. This is the inside of our shower now. So we've got the shower base and the walls now. And our son graduated from high school. Congratulations, Eli. We got a window put into the shed wall and our potatoes flowered. Unfortunately, my auntie Eileen passed away as well, so that was a very sad time. My Mum gave us 4 more solar panels to add to our collection. This is our 3rd summer off the grid now. So 2.5 years ago, our family embarked on this journey that many thought was a bit crazy. No town water, no electricity, no sewerage, just 140 acres of raw land waiting to be transformed. Some call it unconventional, but for us, it's the essence of a slow and simple life. Just in the last few months, we've had a snake only a few metres from the shed doors, so we've put in some snake repellers, so we'll see how they go. This journey began with camping in a shed with a dirt floor, but step by step we moulded this space into something more. First a cement floor to replace the dirt beneath our feet, then the gift of the 23,000 litre rainwater tank generously donated to us became our lifeline. We've plucked food from the ground that nature's provided us. We've got our chickens now that are producing delicious eggs that grace our table, and some may call us crazy, but here we are. In the simplicity of our off-grid life, we've found a richness that goes beyond what the eye can see. Paul even made me breakfast in bed this morning with fresh eggs from our chickens and a nasturtium flower on top, fresh from our garden. How lovely. And one of my sunflowers has finally bloomed. Living off the grid at Chimney Creek Farm has been my greatest source of solace and peace. I've found a sanctuary, and nature has been my best therapist, guiding me through the ebbs and flows of life. All the challenges we've faced, the fires, the storms, the lack of money, the trials, they've all been met with resilience. And nature, with its gentle whispers and unspoken wisdom, has been a steadfast companion, offering solace in the silence and healing in the breeze.